that's really important.
Wow, that's so deep. Mine just pick the highest PA.
What was yours?
Pick the highest PA. SMU. I'm kidding, no,
Hi, my name is Lydia. I'm the Director of Publicity in the Singapore Psychological Society Youth Wing, and today I'm your host for today's episode. If you're a psychology student who's looking about which university courses you want to take in terms of psychology in Singapore, this episode is for you because I'm going to be interviewing students from SMU, NUS, and NTU so that we can help you figure out which university suits you the most. Okay, so these are our guests. Could you do a quick introduction for the viewers watching, what uni you're in, and your names?
Yeah, of course. Hi, I'm Tanvi and I'm from NUS. I just graduated actually, so I finished my 4th year and I'm really excited to be part of this conversation today.
Okay, hi, I'm Dan. I'm from SMU and I'll be joining my 3rd year in August. So I'm really excited to be part of this as well.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm from NTU and I'm also entering my 3rd year this August.
Great. So for the first question, why did you choose your UVs?
Yeah, so for me personally, I chose NTU for 2 different reasons. One of it being campus life. So, NTU is really far from everything. So I think it's really nice to be able to step out of your comfort zone and kind of like have this experience of living with your friends. So that was definitely a plus for me. Another reason for choosing NTU was for its research program because I thought among the 3 universities that were there, NTU had the most rigorous program for students interested in research, and so that was why I chose NTU.
I think very similar to Carrie, even though I went to NUS. So I came from an international school, so there was always this tussle about whether to go overseas or study in Singapore. Eventually, I decided to study in Singapore, but I still wanted that experience of a campus life and just feeling a little more like an adult. So that's what initially drew me to NUS. And apart from the campus life itself, in terms of academics and the course curriculum, I really liked the flexibility that NUS provided. I think that really resonated with me. So I knew that I wanted to get into psychology, but I didn't know what field I wanted to specialize in. And I liked the idea of having pre-assigned modules in my 1st year and then going on to have that freedom and autonomy to choose modules that I wanted to do and explore.
It's so same. Actually, why I chose SMU, right, was because of the flexibility in the course structure. So I wanted to do a double degree in Psych and business. So that's why I chose SMU, because it allowed me to have that flexibility in my course structure. And the second reason is because of SMU's central location. So I knew that I wanted to do quite a few internships. So currently now during summer I'm doing my internship, but I can also go back to school for classes just because it's so central, rather than having to travel so far.
Actually, I resonate with that a lot because I live in the East, in the middle of nowhere. And so when I was choosing between whether I wanted to do Psych at NTU, NUS, or SMU, I was just really had to think practically. I didn't really want to live in a dorm because I love my house a bit too much. So I thought SMU was perfect for me because I can at least travel in the city life and I can have a little bit more work-life balance. But that's just personal preference of mine. But it's clear that if you want a dorm life, you want to live a bit more of an American college lifestyle, maybe NTU or NUS.
SMU got clubbing culture.
Oh,
I mean, so does NUS.
Yeah, but
oh, okay.
So many questions.
Yeah.
What sort of topic are you talking about?
What? As in CCA club.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. No, kidding.
Because I thought you'd be like, well, we have jocks in our school.
Yeah.
Development.
Okay, that's true. What has been the most interesting part of your psych course?
I can go first. So I think for me, it's really about the people around, especially the professors and admin staff, because they've been really and incredibly supportive of your education. So take for example, when we wanted to start a psych society, the professors were on board with us and give us a budget. And then currently I'm doing a research module, a bit like NTU's Eureka program. So the prof was really nice about it. He was like, yeah, you can do whatever research you want. It doesn't have to be contribute to his kind of research area and focus. It's really what I want to do. And he was like, I give you free rein of what you want to do, and I'm 100% behind and support you. And I thought that's really, really interesting.
And is it true that in SMU there's like 3 psych professors?
No, there's quite a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard there's only 3.
No, there's more. And they all have their own area of specialization. And I think they also have this model where they're trying to bring in a few more adjuncts where these people have like real world experience. So I thought that was quite interesting as well. So it's not just like academic content, but they pair it with real world experience.
Not just theory. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I think like building on what he said, like I think especially in NTU, the professors you get are really, really diverse. So like I just ended a module on like organizational development, and my professor was actually from New Zealand, and he's a scientist practitioner. So actually he was able to work as an IO psychologist for a really long time, and he actually started his own consulting firm before he came over to NTU to teach as an adjunct lecturer. So, you know, when you learn about these things from people who have been in the industry, right, it really gives you that insight of how you can apply the theory, and it goes beyond like what you learn in the classroom. So I think that's really, really interesting as well.
It must be also helpful, especially when you see people who are so devoted to their practice and they're so passionate. It's kind of inspiring, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like every class, he'll come in and tell us a story about how he's in New Zealand. He's from New Zealand, and like the police there wear shorts, and like
Police in
stories.
Singapore wear shorts also, right?
And that was like in the past, you know, like police in New Zealand still wear shorts.
They still wear shorts. Singapore police still wear shorts.
Okay, but they don't teach me like.
They really, it came from it came from an MFA thing because they wanted the police to look more approachable. So they got the police to wear shorts, like those neighborhood police that they cycle around the town.
So men in shorts are supposed to be approachable.
So I feel like this is so controversial.
like this is we don't really do this. Where do we continue?
I think for me, the most interesting would have had to be once you get to your 3rd, 4th year, there's a lot more freedom. So I got to experience really different modules that I don't think I would have been able to experience otherwise. So even though I knew I was interested in pursuing IO psychology, similar to Carrie, I still had the chance to experience these really amazing modules like criminal forensic psychology, my absolute favorite, and the prof was really great too. So these kind of experiences I really think are what made it so interesting, because it made me fall in love with psychology a little bit more towards the end, which I think sometimes when you study the same course for a period of 3-4 years, it's much, much needed. Yeah.
So you're talking about forensic psych as one of your modules, right? Does SMU or NTU have similar modules to that?
No, we don't, unfortunately.
There is one in NTU. I think it explores forensic psychology, like terrorism, crimes, and all that kind of stuff. And I think the good thing about NTU is that there's a very wide, like diverse range of mods. Like you have like trauma psych, you can learn about like the language of apes, that kind of stuff. So you get a lot of like different kind of modules to kind of like explore different areas.
Yeah, very similar to NUS. We also have, I think, child psychology, then there's trauma psych for sure, but there's also this running joke that trauma psych gave me trauma or caused trauma to me. So I don't know if that was the reason I never took it, but I didn't take it, so I can't speak whether that's true.
I heard from my seniors who like did trauma psych that their exam was like 2.5 hours and like 8 essays, and each essay was like 4 pages.
Wait,
It just sounds really traumatic.
You gotta invoke the trauma so that they understand.
Yes, exactly.
Applying your learning.
Doing model requirements includes first-hand experience.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of like the running joke being a psych student. Is like, why don't you just read your notes? If you're ever sad, just read your notes. Remember?
Oh yeah, I keep seeing so many TikToks about it.
Stereotype.
Don't even get me started on TikTok. That's like a whole different subject on pop psychology.
So, what field of psychology do you guys want to pursue?
Oh, me first? Okay. So, it took me a while to realize, but I think somewhere around in my 3rd year, I realized that I really enjoy industrial organizational psychology, which is what we've been referring to as IO psychology. I'm sorry we didn't clarify that before, so sorry if you're confused. But yeah, it's basically about applying psychology to the business, to the corporate world, and just that process of application, something beyond theory, was very interesting to me. But I can go on about this topic forever. And I know that a lot of people zone out, so if anybody has any questions, then I will chime in. I will not go on about it.
Next episode.
Next episode.
Yeah, I think for me, similar to Tanvi, I was initially also interested in IO, but I think it's a little bit different from me because actually I did psychology from Temasek Polytechnic at first. So I knew that I had an interest in research, and then I got matched to a market research company for my internship program. And so from there I kind of stuck around because I realized that it was a very meaningful job in the sense where your research applications get seen by the world and it kind of impacts society in that sense. So I've been in the market research industry for about 4 years now. And I think the good thing, and I think this misconception is that, when you do psychology, you're going to be like a counselor, you're going to go like clinical psychology. But I think like it's a good idea, like it's a good example of how you can kind of like pivot your psychology degree to work in like different business functions as well. So like for example in psychology, I do a lot of studies on like behavioral economics and like behavioral insights. And that's like really useful in like the work that I do in like consulting on like collateral development or like marketing materials and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so for me, I think the similar to Carrie is behavioral sciences. So actually before I came to Psych, like I thought the Psych was a kind of cool thing where you could like read people's minds and like subtly like manipulate people.
Wow, have you read the book about You're Surrounded by Psychopaths or something like that?
No, but I'm gonna read it now.
No, but yeah, I've seen a lot of people reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should go read it. Yeah, so that was what I thought Psych would be like, and then I was so disappointed when everything's like boiled down to like research and you can't actually do that. Until I came across like behavioral sciences, and it was like the closest thing where you could like subtly manipulate people. And and so the word we use is not manipulate, it's influence.
Nudge.
Nudge. So when we go to so the plan is to go into government and basically help the government manipulate people.
Nudge.
Nudge people.
Nudge.
Yeah. So
Do that, maybe repeat what you
influence people. Yeah.
Need to cut it out now.
Yeah.
I feel like this whole episode has been really controversial, but like unintentionally, I promise.
Yeah. Actually, Carrie, you were saying how you did an internship when you went to Temasek Poly, and it kind of changed what you kind of wanted to do and where you found things that were interesting. So on the topic of internships, I know a lot of people who go to uni, they always think about it because it's really hard to know if you like something if you don't practice all your theory that you're learning. So how is your experience with internships in NTU and obviously in your respective universities?
Yeah, I think the difference with the NU curriculum now compared to before is that the internships are now mandatory and they are credit bearing, but they are pass fail. But I think it's good in the sense where the school has kind of like this platform called In Place to kind of help you secure positions. So you can kind of go onto the platform and like look at what positions are available at what organizations. And it's quite a big range. Like you have like business functions like market research, as I said. But I also know friends who are also like in government doing like an internship with MSF. And also like friends interning at like IMH. So you do get like a lot of different experiences depending on like what you're interested in. Yeah.
Actually, very similar to Carrie. Sorry, I didn't share this before, but I started out in uni really wanting to do clinical psychology, and that's what actually drew me to NUS because NUS is very driven around the field of clinical psychology. A lot of the modules, it's also very research focused, and I was so sure that that was for me until I took this one module in industrial organizational psychology, and I was like, wait, this is so different. I'm actually enjoying this. And then I did an internship in a consulting firm, and I really enjoyed it. So I think that ability to pivot is something that's so special to psychology. And we often go to university with this mindset that we know what we want to do, but until we actually do an internship, we genuinely do not know.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to say because psychology is like such a huge field.
Exactly.
So many things you can do. Like you said, you suddenly have like business incorporated.
Yeah. And I didn't even know that was a potential avenue. And even now, actually, when people ask me what I want to do and I say IO psychology or business psychology, they're really shocked because they're like, oh, where's the psychology? Oh, then why didn't you just do business?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not a business major? So it's very all over the place, and sometimes from psychology students themselves. So yeah, I wish more people knew about it, but I think that's where internships are really important.
Yeah. So I think same for SMU, I think what's great is that they actively encourage you to take like a lot of internships. So mandatory is 1, but most people take at least 3 or 4 in their time in university. So I have like a lot of friends who just like intern in the middle of the semester with like taking 3 mods, 4 mods, and then they'll intern the rest of the time.
So it's like part-time study.
Part-time study, yeah. But I mean, it's considered full-time for both in a way.
Yeah.
So it's quite crazy. But I think the good thing is that the curriculum is designed to help you. Like it's not so heavy on the academics, so that it allows you to have time to do these internships. Yeah, and it's really great. So like for me, like I'm doing my 3rd internship now, and yeah, it's great to do different internships and try different things. So like I did one in IO, so it's like creating an assessment center.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, then I did another one on behavioral sciences with MINDEF, and the 3rd one I'm doing now is in strategy, which is completely different. But actually what's interesting is that in this department there are like 6 of us, and actually like 3 of them are from psychology also. So I mean, just because you do psychology doesn't mean you can't.
They don't restrict
Yeah,
you
yeah,
to
yeah,
like
yeah.
clinical psych or being a counselor.
Yeah, strategy is so different. Yeah.
Yep. And curriculum-wise, NUS doesn't have a compulsory internship, like a credit-bearing internship module. But as far as I know, it is definitely optional. But unfortunately, I was pretty much the COVID batch, so it was kind of excused for me. But I know before it used to be quite popular. And yeah, I think in doing internships, what I've noticed is that a lot of people, once you find a subfield you're interested in, you tend to want to do internships in those industries, those subfields. But for me and a lot of people that I spoke to, it started off where, you do an internship in a particular subfield. And then in the 2nd year, if you do an internship in a different, so for me, I was working as a research assistant, and fortunately and unfortunately, I realized research is not for me. But a lot of my other friends had different experiences in different subfields, so that kind of helped with clarity as well. So, even if you have one experience in an industry you particularly like and you think maybe this is the field that I want to pursue, I would still recommend doing an internship in a different industry subfield to just broaden your opportunities and just network beyond that, so you know for sure that okay, do I like this subfield too? Is this for me? And you have that diversity in terms of experiences.
And in terms of internship opportunities, do you find that it was difficult to find an internship in your universities? Because I know that like SMU, they hone in on having internships so much that it's more readily available from what I've heard from my friends in these unis. What about I know SMU, but in NTU and NUS, is it easily available or easy to access?
Yeah. I think with that platform for like NTU, it helped in securing a position. But I think then again it's only available to students who are going to be pursuing like a professional attachment at that point of time. It's only open to them. And I think that's why it really links back to what Hanvi said about networks. Like networks are really, really important in being able to place yourself in a certain position. So I mean, personally, I've always tapped on my personal network to help secure like positions in companies. So I don't know if I can really comment on how difficult it is to be getting an internship here at NTU. Yeah, but I think the platform definitely helps.
Yeah, NUS also has a platform called Talent Connect, and that definitely helps. But I would say it's the first step. So it gives you access to the opportunities that are out there. But in terms of the pathway on what next and what after applying to this, that is a pretty much like you're on your own basically. So you get options about what's available, but then it's an entire process in itself, just spamming applications and then like
fixing up
2
your resume.
companies getting back, just constantly reworking your resume and then getting like
One reply.
Sometimes no replies, and then just like a handful, even if you get a handful of interviews, that's good enough. But all that matters is that one internship. I guess it's worth it. But it is a pain, and especially during COVID, it was really difficult to navigate. So tapping on personal network, not just in terms of connections, but I would say in terms of seniors or fresh graduates, and just talking to them, asking them about their process, even reaching out to profs, university counselors, coordinators, academic directors about what the trends are, how many so that you can get a document of statistics in your that's easy for you to access. That's really, really beneficial. So what I did was I actually reached out to my academic director during COVID, and I said that, listen, would you have any statistics? And it was just a cold email. I didn't even think he would reply. I was just really like, am I doing something wrong? What is happening? And he said that the statistics are not available, but he definitely
Worth a shot.
he definitely recommended a few seniors that I could reach out to, and they had diverse experiences and they were really easy to talk to. And I was like, this is so easy, you know, it's just so much easier to have a conversation rather than doing like 10, 12 Google searches and then going back to square one because you realize it was just a whole bunch of nothing.
I think like, you know, a lot of people tend to focus on like internships as a very important point to like bolster your resume and everything. But I think people downplay then the importance of having good mentors.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like,
And
having good mentors is fundamental to like giving you a realistic preview of like what you want to do.
Exactly. And in fact, when I interned, I had a really good mentor who actually told me that when he looks at resumes, maybe this is particular to IO Psych, but he told me that when he looks at resumes, he doesn't look at the courses or your GPA as much as he looks at the languages you've done or the sports or you know those additional skills that you think are not important. So he actually told me that he saw that I had track and field and tennis, and he was like, so that made me realize you have commitment, discipline, and I was like, wow, I didn't think that was important. And he was like,
you were trying to do that.
yeah, and I was like, I thought, you know, this was at the end of my resume. No one even looks at it, and he's like, no, that's the first thing we look at because how else are you gonna have a litmus test on somebody's perseverance, their confidence. So if you have things like public speaking, which is why I think in universities, clubs, not clubbing, clubs, very different clubs, societies, they're so important and we don't even realize it because nobody tells us. We think that they're like a completely different aspect of our university life, but when your academics and whatever society that you've been part of, they combine in your resume. I think that's what really creates that powerful combination that we don't even realize until we have somebody who's way higher up in an industry tell us. So that really shocked me.
I've also heard that especially nowadays, it's really important for future clients to look at your resume and see that you're a well-rounded person and you're not just someone who will sit there and grind and work hard, which obviously is important to have a good GPA. No one's gonna deny that. But if they can see that you're a well-rounded person, it also helps, especially with psychology. It's about human behavior. You're gonna have to work on our behavior too. Yeah, but that's interesting to see that.
And that's why I should sign up for SPS's mentorship program.
Are you interested in joining us? Singapore Psychological System.
You program.
So, in summary from our whole conversation, what I've gathered at least is that if you're looking for something that's more research-based, then NTU is definitely your university. If you're looking for something that's more experiences outside of Singapore, if you're looking for something that involves a lot of hands-on from theory to practice, then SMU is great for that. A lot of opportunities there. Not saying that NUS or NTU doesn't have that, it's definitely there too, but it's more honed in on an SMU. And for NUS, you're definitely able to see different parts of different courses that you can choose to really see and consolidate what you want to do in your life. So even if, let's say, you think that you want to go in for research, you're going to end up doing something business related.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So for the final question, what advice would you give for the potential psych students?
I think it's about keeping an open mind. Like I think like what you said, right? Like how you switch. I think for me also when I started doing psych, because I was really young, I was like 16 when I decided to do psychology. So I was also like, oh, I want to do clinical, I want to do counseling. And I did a counseling psychology module and I promised myself that I would never pursue counseling in this life. So yeah, like keep an open mind. I think you like when you do that and you let yourself explore different opportunities, then you realize like there's a lot of the different things that might pique your interest.
Yeah, I think exactly what Carrie said. I think there's a lot of pressure before we start university or when we start university that we have to have our whole life planned out. We need to know exactly what we want to do, where we want to work. But I think all of us can vouch for the fact that that is very, very rarely the case. And I can't tell you the number of times, even though I love to be planned and I also had my whole life pretty much planned out where I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to NUS, clinical psychology, masters, then work. And now it's just NUS, like NUS.
We're just stagnating here for a second.
NUS consulting, not even masters, NUS consulting, then hopefully masters, and then
Hopefully a
Still
job.
working, yeah.
Hopefully a job. It's not like quarter life crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not
going on.
I promise I'm planned, but it's just a different plan, and that's my point.
Don't scare her like that.
No. I have a job. I have a job in this market, which I'm happy.
We believe you.
Thank you. But coming back, and that is exactly my point, is that it's okay to have more than one plan and to replan and unplan, and that's what university life is. So I think just keeping an open mind and letting yourself be flexible enough to go through those stages and changes is something that's really important.
Wow, that's so deep.
I
Mine's
didn't
pick the
have
highest
for it
pay.
What was yours?
Pick the highest pay. SMU. I'm kidding. No, I think for me, like, university is also about the people you're with. So it's going to be 4 years, and 4 years with people who you may not get along with is going to be very long and painful. But conversely, if you pick the right kind of culture that you enjoy and that you vibe with, it's going to be 4 amazing years. So I've been really lucky to have amazing friends in school. So like, yeah, it's been a breeze. Yeah, and it's really enjoyable.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, especially in the club, like the society. Yeah.
So you were saying that you're taking also a major in business, right?
Yes.
I know there's a stereotype in SMU that any psych student who goes to SMU does not have a career choice in psych, and it's purely just psych business related. Is that true, or are you able to take like exchanges abroad to take modules that are more clinical, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. So it's not. I think it's a stereotype that like SMU psych students are like this oriented. That's not necessarily true. I know a lot of people who are interested in mental health and counseling. So what we are trying to do is, so you can definitely take these modules overseas. You can take it on local exchange. You can even take, I know people who are doing courses outside of school, so like they attend like their own, it's like advanced diploma kind of thing in the counseling sector. Yeah, so it's not necessary that you have to be business oriented psych if you come to SMU.
Thank you guys so much for listening today, and for those who are watching this on our YouTube page or our TikTok page, thanks for viewing this video. I hope that we could give you some clarity on which university could fit you the best, whether it be SMU, NUS, or NTU. If any of these universities are actually not the ones that you're considering, do not worry, we're going to have that in our next episode, so stay tuned for that. Thank you!